welcome Kristopher today to stand up. Thanks a lot, guys. I want to thank the mayor, I want to thank the city hall, I want to thank Dwight from the community center, and I want to thank the police department for an excellent escort today. And what I'm going to do now is introduce the speaker. He's a local resident from here, and he's got a really inspiring story to talk to you about. And please welcome Mike.
Okay, everybody, hi. First of all, my name is Mike, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself and Ron down here. The reason Ron isn't up here speaking is because he's quiet and shy, and I have the mouth, okay? It's as simple as that. I don't know where to start, so just kind of bear with me. Ron and I both had liver disease, okay? And in each case, it was bad. We needed a transplant. At midnight, it was almost exactly 5 months ago to the day. At midnight, I get a phone call. And on the other end of the phone, a guy said, "Mike, we have a liver for you." Well, I just shook my head and said, no, it can't be. He said, "Yeah, it's a good match and everything, Mike. We're going to send a plane to get you." So I said, okay. And I had to deal with that, and I can't begin to tell anybody here the emotions that I went through. And having spoken with Ron and gone through this with Ron, it's the same thing. Anyway, we make our way to Moncton. The government flies a private jet to pick us up, a little 6-seater jet. Boom, and off we go to London, Ontario. Ron and I don't know each other. We don't say a word to each other on the way up, because we're scared. Okay? Think about it. You're going to have a transplant. You're scared. We arrive in London. We get prepped for the operation. Now, the only reason we're getting a transplant is because somebody, somewhere, signed their donor card. If they didn't sign that donor card, if this particular person, or I should say persons, did not sign their donor card, I wouldn't be here talking to you today, and Ron would be sitting down there. I'm not trying to be morbid, okay? If I do sound morbid, not at all. This little talk that I'm giving to you is about life, okay? Anyway, we get our transplant. We come back to Halifax. I was walking with Kristopher today. If anybody in this room has an idea of what guts is, or strong will, and above all, consideration for other people, take Kristopher as your role model. I don't know Kristopher, I just had a brief moment to talk with him. Great guy. He's one of many, many people in this country and around the world. Talk to your parents. Please, talk to your parents. Talk to yourself. For those of you that have a driver's license, or when you get your driver's license, there's a part on there that asks, do you want to be a donor? Please consider it, okay? On your MSI form, there's a place there. Please sign it. Now, I'm a musician. That's what I do for a living. I love my music. I just love it. It's one of the things I live for. The other thing I live for is my little girl. I love my daughter, just like your parents love you. Because of the transplant, I'm going to have that time with my daughter. And because of the transplant, I'm going to be able to keep doing my music and things that I love. I just want you to think about it. I want you to talk to your parents, aunts, uncles, everybody. I want you to talk. But whenever you see some promotion on this, listen to it, okay? And like I said, this is not about gloom, it's about life, okay? When people die, a lot of other people live. Have you ever seen that ad on TV where they go through and it says, I am one, or I was one, and at the end the little girl says, well, I am one? Well, that little girl, her name is Sarah. And when I was up in London, like she's the big talk of the town up there because she not only had one transplant, she had several. Okay? So please remember, this is not about dying, it's about living. Okay? That's all I have to say. Thanks very much.
Thank you for those inspiring words, Mike. And there's also one of your own here, a teacher that has a personal story to share. Please welcome Mr. Calvin Bull. This is kind of sudden. Matter of fact, it happened about 5 minutes ago. This gentleman came down and asked me to tell you my story. I come from a long line of people that have a disease called polycystic kidney. And one of the stages of that is at about 40 to 45 years of age, you will develop polycystic kidney and go into renal failure, which is known as kidney failure. In 1986, my dad received his first transplant, what's called a cadaver transplant, and it comes from somebody who has signed their donor card and died in an accident. And we were very fortunate to receive a phone call like Mike in the middle of the night while my dad was being dialyzed. My mom and dad had what was called hemodialysis, which means my dad was treated at home and my mom acted as his nurse. That transplant lasted about 10 years, which is about the lifespan of a cadaver transplant. A couple of years later, as my dad was aging and we knew that this was important, that he have another transplant, my brother donated a kidney to my dad. And that's not the end of the story, because last year, my sister, who also had polycystic kidney, developed renal failure. And at the age of 61, my mother donated a kidney to my sister. This was a hard thing for a family. And at first I probably rejected it and I said, this wasn't a good idea. I wasn't real happy with this. But in hindsight now, I realize that my mother made a decision and it was important that we support that. We need more organ transplants. We need awareness. And this message here today is about awareness. I live it. You live it. And you have a chance to make a difference in this particular situation. So listen carefully to the message today. Thank you for listening to me. And take some of this awareness away with you and make some decisions on what's right for you. And organ transplant. There's a slogan from Prince Edward Island that says, don't take your organs to heaven. Heaven knows that we need them here. Thank you very much. Two very powerful messages. Well, what we're going to do now is show you a 10-minute video. And we're hoping that we're going to get some questions afterwards. So get your questions ready after the video. And sorry, we don't have no popcorn. The principal didn't provide any, but I hope you enjoy them. Okay, we got about 5 minutes for questions. 10 minutes. Okay. And your principal, Mr. Blum, will recognize the students that are raising their hands. So who's going to be that first brave person that's going to raise their hand? Let me see that first brave person. Yeah, over here.